sponsors. Welcome to the Mick Bazzuly Show, brought to you by RP Summit, putting money in businesses' pockets for 20 years. Visit rpsummit.com. Now, here's Mick.
Thursday here in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, Florida. I'm the Mickster, Mick Bazzuly. Welcome to the show. You can hear us live on 96.9 FM here in South Florida, Super 740 throughout South Florida and around the world on amp2.tv. A lot going on around town. It's beautiful weather out. The summer solstice is the first day of summer today. So we have 15 hours of daylight, so you're able to watch small animals explode on the roadside from the heat. But that's just Florida living for you. You know, that's the way it goes. Now, by the time you get here in September, we all look like a crypt keeper from the heat here in South Florida. Tonight, the Sweet Tarts, the lovely women, Chris Janes, Liz Sharp and company, will be at, Blue Jean Blues on 33rd Street in Fort Lauderdale at the North Bay Center, the North Bay Shops. If you get a chance, stop in at 5 o'clock. They'll be playing from 5 to 8, doing all the hits. They even do, I Only Want to Be With You by Dusty Springfield. That was my opening song for 10 years when I was with DeForest back in the day. So, stop in at happy hour. They have prices and everything else. See the twins, Diane and Denise, and tell them you know me, and maybe they'll throw you out of the place. I also want to wish a happy birthday to my daughter, Pat, okay, and my grandsons, Braden and Jackson. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. And it was hard for me to get in touch with her, but we did speak, and I'd say give her a shout-out today. But right here in Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, things are pretty well back to normal. I mean, the summer, it's cleared out. The Canadians have gone back north of the border. Thank God for that. Okay, well, they're cheap. They don't tip at all. But without their money, we'd be dead over here. But we got a good show coming up today. I got a couple of great guests. Cleartronic, CLRI, it's eligible for the bulletin board. It's a pink sheet company. We got some exciting things going on over there. In fact, if you read the news release on CLRI, I always said the best thing in the world is a free cigar. Well, next to that, free stock. Because if you own CLRI, you're going to get shares in a new company where they filed the Form 10 and an S1 registration. And you should read that release because it's going to be huge, as they say. So I'm going to say, without further ado, our old friend Larry Reed from Cleartronic is here to speak with me and to clue you in on all the exciting things going on over there at Cleartronic. I got to tell you, you got really some stuff going on over there, Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Mick. I'm happy to be with you again.
We've done some shows, and you were building Cleartronic. You're the longtime CEO. You've been there for almost 20 years. And now you're starting to really knock things down with the software and all the voice interop and all the other things that you have working for you over there. You're starting to sign some real big contracts. I'm looking at it here. You just got back and you did the Green Bay Packers, the Tennessee Titans, and most recently you did the Country Music Awards.
Yes, we did, Mick. It was a 3-day festival. That CMA Fest goes on for a long time. We also did the Bonnaroo Festival and the Riverbend Festival all in the Nashville area at the same time, and they used ReadyOp to coordinate everything. Security, emergency services, so forth and so on.
It's funny because last year when we were talking right after the Hurricane Harvey that came and rifled through Florida and put us on our back, that ReadyOp products were being used right there in the Keys and throughout the state of Florida, Naples, which gives you a communication where even if everything goes down, you still can communicate with the base. You can still move around. It's cutting-edge technology, and now everybody's starting to find out about it.
Yes, they are, Mick, and that's one of the reasons we're spinning off Voice Interop. We believe that Voice Interop as a standalone company can do some magic things. We think we can do some strategic acquisitions in various industries. We think we can raise some capital and grow Voice Interop. And it'll give management, the Cleartronic management, an opportunity to focus on ReadyOp.
Right.
And they won't be thinking about Voice Interop and what we're going to do with Voice Interop. So I'm very excited about it. I'm excited about the dividend that our shareholders are going to get.
Terrific value.
Oh, absolutely. And the nice thing about it is that we're doing it the right way. We're not going to be a shell. We're a company that's been around for a long time. And it's for the shareholders, it's beautiful.
People have to understand that it took you a dozen years to go ahead and perfect this. And now that you've crossed over where it is perfected, now you're gone out and you're marketing your product. I know you got people flying all over. I'm looking at your list of clients that you just signed here, and it's quite amazing, especially with the NFL. Trying to break into one team, you'll probably end up with all 30 teams. One gets it, then another one, and you got two right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But we feel very good about doing business with the NFL.
Right.
No question about it.
Now, the 4th of July in Washington, D.C., you guys have been signed on them for that, which is...
National Park Police have been using our product in the D.C. area for a couple of years now, and that's what they'll use for the 4th of July celebration.
Well, they expect 1 million people at the fireworks, and security is really where it's at today.
So.
You know that as well as I do. We tend to worry every time there's a crowd of people together. With so much going on in the world, you never know. And that's one of but that's really what's driving right now, I guess, Cleartronic.
Well, so that and the fact that we're also the school situation is scary because of that incident that happened in Parkland, and all of a sudden the school communities are taking a really hard look at ReadyOp because ReadyOp solves that emergency situation problem.
Yeah, and not only Parkland, it seems, we can go back to the days of Columbine,
right?
Which, those kids were 18 years old now, they're in their 40s, and then you look at Sandy Hook, and it just goes on indefinitely. Between hardening the schools, and I guess this would be something that would harden the schools, it would really make a split-second decision. You could really stay in touch.
Well, it's all about communication, Mick. You need to know what's going on in every corner of the school.
Well, a fine example was in Parkland, the radios and the police cruisers didn't work.
You need to know who's responding. I mean, if it's going to be 5 or 6 police departments that are showing up, they need to be tuned in to what's going on at the command center. Right. And that's what we do.
The way your dividend is set up, now you filed the S1 registration this week. You also filed the Form 10, if I'm not mistaken.
They're a combination of both.
Okay, so how much stock what does it come out to as percentage-wise that Cleartronic shareholders would be entitled to for owning shares in Cleartronic? How much stock would they get in the spinoff?
Well, we raised a little bit of working capital in the company, so those investors got approximately 10%, but the shareholders of Cleartronic will own 90%, roughly 87 to 90% of Voice Interop.
And the Voice Interop would go out and get a new QSIP number, a new symbol, would have a new certificate. It would be deposited based on what you own in Cleartronic. You would get that automatically credited to your account at your brokerage house.
Right. It'll be in book entry form, so you'll get a statement from the transfer agent if you're holding the stock in your possession. If you're in a brokerage firm, the statement will go directly to the brokerage firm through securities.
Right, DTC and things of that, right. So there's really, one day you wake up and you just have another stock in your account.
There you go.
Right, and 90% of it. Now, if you sell Cleartronic, you don't get any stock.
We haven't set a firm record date as yet. We're kind of waiting. Right now the S1 states on the effective date of the registration statement, but we may very well change that. We'll see what happens there. I've got a due diligence meeting with the auditors and the lawyers tomorrow, at which point we should sign off on the final draft. We'll do the Edgarization. Everything else all the audits and everything have already been Edgarized. We'll get it filed, and we'll go from there.
And we're on our way.
On our way.
So, I've been through a couple of these before. When the stock it actually ends up in the account, and you don't know when it's going to go live. But on several of them, and let's say if I was an owner of record as of July 15th, if I sold my stock before the 15th, I would get nothing. There would be no bonus. There would be no dividend for me.
Correct.
But if I held it and sold it on the 17th or 18th, if I sold Cleartronic, for example, then I have no problem. I'd still be credited.
That's correct.
That makes complete sense to me. And you'll probably do, I guess you're looking at I know you've been looking at different acquisitions and different ways to take the spinoff. As long, until it goes. I know you're not putting out any news on it, but you've been looking at different industries and different cash flow situations.
Absolutely, we're looking at blockchain software.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some
popular.
Interesting things going on there. We have not given up on the CBC business, the
Right.
cannabis
Mhm.
business, the hemp business, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a relationship with some people in Colombia, so we don't know quite what we're going to do there yet. But there are so many opportunities out there right now that are approaching us. As I sit in my office, I get 2 or 3 phone calls a day.
Right.
Is there any way that we can talk to you about maybe doing something with our company?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be able to pick and choose, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Why I like a spinoff is basically, where every share of stock is, number one. It has no debt coming out of the box. It's basically an IPO, where an IPO has to have a business in it, okay, before they could become, a public offering. Here, you basically can spin out and pick and choose as you get out. You're getting out of the gate first.
Well, is a business in,
Of course.
in voice interrupt, but we believe that having a clean public entity that will be able to do strategic acquisitions, strategic partnerships that will benefit the shareholders beyond what they can imagine.
Right. How many shareholders do you have in Cleartronic at this time?
Of record, there are probably
Approximately. I know it's hard.
200, and then, of course, if you account what's held in public, which we don't know.
We don't know,
the
the DTC.
it's probably another 300-400. So
Yeah.
there's maybe 500-600
Yeah,
shareholders.
you never know what goes into a pool.
Right.
And when you go out, you get your statements, and you look, you see DTC held 8 million shares. You don't know if there's 100 people or 1,000 people.
Right.
You just don't know, and they're not going to tell you. Okay, but again, Cleartronic's always been a tight float. You structured it properly. You've been in business for 20 years, but here it's even actually going to be better.
I believe so.
Your registration calls for about, what, 40 million, 50 million on the new one?
The new one's going to be less than 20 million.
Less than 20 million. That's amazing when you take it. But and you got all your options open to you.
Correct.
Right. Cleartronic, you've been traveling a lot. I know Mark has been traveling a lot out west and everything else. And the response as far as the product that you have, would you say it's fair to Midland, or is it it's kicking up right now?
It's through the roof. There's not he doesn't have enough. Mark Moore,
I know you moved to a bigger office.
Mark Moore, the CEO of Cleartronic, already up at 2. He doesn't have enough hours in the day to see the people that want to see Ready Up. And we're training people. We've just brought on some new salespeople. We're going to grow dramatically. There's a couple of opportunities in the multi-million-dollar range that are staring us right in the. Take the Civil Air Patrol, for instance. They just signed a 5.5-year contract with Ready Up.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is.
The Civil Air Patrol.
U.S. government funded,
big
no
deal.
doubt.
Food and Drug Administration, NASA. These are all our clients.
NASA's alive and well right now, right? Coming back to life.
Yeah, that's.
Now, I can imagine, and I see the upscale in it. I've seen your product a couple of years ago when you showed it to me first time. I think it was in 2014 when we had lunch together, and it just amazed me. But, I'm simple when it comes to electronics. I'm not like you guys. And Mark was a fighter pilot. He was in the Air Force. He was an Air Force fighter pilot.
Yep.
Yeah. So, he developed this along with you and the other tech tech people that I met over there. So it's something that was in development for, like we said, probably a dozen years. You went and moved around, you changed it, you came closer. As technology grew, you grabbed what you could out of it and incorporated basically in your product. And it seems to be working right now with sales coming up.
We're adding new features every month, new features that are beneficial to every customer that currently has our product. What's good about it is we don't charge for those features to existing customers.
Right. You just update your own
just update their software and they're off and running.
You got in Texas. You have Houston, the city of Houston. They've signed
several clients in Houston.
Tell us about that.
Including NASA.
Yeah.
I like to talk about national. I don't want to zero in on just Houston, but We've got Dallas Metropolitan Transport Authority.
A lot of police forces.
Right. We got the Los Angeles Metropolitan Transport. So we've got Seattle Police. We've got so many different police forces that are using our product. So many health departments. The Miami-Dade Police, Broward County Sheriff's Office, all Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office,
Right.
Palm Beach County Schools. It's
catching on.
It's
And
catching on.
I know you expanded. You keep inviting me to come up and see your new offices,
Right.
which I'll probably be up there in a couple of weeks anyway.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'll do, definitely. And, to take a good look at it. What options do you think you have as far as the cannabis business? You've been, like you said, you were looking at different ones. It seems to be hot now. Canada just legalized it, I think September 1. But CBD oil is healthy, and, again, are you still keeping those doors open?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The thing about CBDs is that there is no reason to believe that this is cutting edge healthy for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely natural. It's 100% organic. It's pure. It can help you in so many different ways. And what's amazing, Mickey, I was just in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in waiting for my plane, I introduced myself to a couple of guys. We were just chatting, and it turns out they found out I was in that business. Mm-hmm. And one gentleman's telling me about his epileptic child. Another one's telling me about his dementia, stricken grandparent. I mean, these are people that are interested in what we're doing, and we know that we can help them.
Studies show it.
It's there.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
No, I mean, sooner or later, the world's going to wake. Well, they woke up in Canada already, but sooner or later.
CBD oil is legal throughout the United States. But there's still a problem with the federal government and people trying to market anything with merchant accounts and things of that, because the banks are insured by the federal government, FDIC, and they don't want to touch a lot of this stuff. It creates nothing but problems.
Well, that's true, but I think that'll change. I mean, we haven't had any problems yet.
This doesn't have THC in it.
No, there's no THC.
This is for health purposes only. I mean, and I listen. People with autism, kids with autism, are miraculously changed with
Absolutely.
CBD.
I have a daughter that's with a school in Denver, Colorado, and she tells me of parents that have literally moved from the Northeast and the Middle East, the Middle Atlantic states, to Colorado simply to be able to have access to CBD to take care of their autistic child. Mm-hmm. I mean, tell me.
I know it's exploding in the
industry.
Exploding.
It's
you know it too, because you've shared shows with Pot Network, and a lot of their shareholders are listening today.
The one thing we want to try to do is if we get involved in that business, and I firmly believe that we will, we're going to get involved with businesses that have revenue, that have something going, that have proprietary technology that we can latch on to, and that's the way we want to grow the business. This is not going to be a smoke and mirror business. This is going to be real, honest, hardworking people that want to be public.
Yeah. Well, you got the track record. Let's face it, 19 years you've been public with Cleartronic. Right. I mean, and it hasn't gone anywhere as far as
Cleartronic's been around for 19 years. I founded it in 1999, but we've only been public, really, a fully reporting company since 2008. So that's 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years we've been.
I mean, you think you might want to make a career of it after 10
I don't know
years.
about that.
No, but you got all the upside going for you. Not only with the industry that you're in is Cleartronic proper, which is the technical industry. It seems that everybody's latching onto you now, especially with security concerns here in the United States and abroad, outside the country too. I mean, they suffer worse than we do. It seems that, you look at Europe, you look at some of the nations in Europe overrun. Sweden, Germany, Belgium, France. You hear it every day. I mean, it's like redundancy when you come down to it. So I guess your phone would ring off the hook.
Yeah, right. Yes, it would.
When do you think the timing is on... I can know from experience, a Form 10 takes about 45 days. But an S1 registration used to take 6 months, and now they got that down below 90 days.
I think we should be.
And you were audited for a long time.
Yeah, we've been audited since 2008. So I don't think there's any reason to hold us up. Look, This is for the benefit of the shareholders of Cleartronic.
Right.
We're giving them another opportunity to protect their investment that they originally made.
And it doesn't cost them anything.
And it doesn't cost them anything.
Although the more Cleartronic you own, the more stock you get. And the other
That's
deal.
correct.
That's true, too. I mean,
correct.
it's a double-edged
Can't-
sword.
yeah.
You sell, you get nothing. You sell part of it, you're only going to get half
It's
as
a
much.
double piece of cake. It's
That's
not
it.
a double-edged sword.
Well, the best thing you can probably do if you lasted this long is to either average down, buy some more, or just wait it out.
There you go.
I mean, you don't know. An IPO, you can set a price of $20 a share, $25 a share, $15. But when you do a Form 10, it could open at $5 a share, it could open at 50 cents. You don't know where it's
Don't know.
going. Supply and demand will create the price.
Exactly.
And if you got a tight float, it's going to be more in demand, which means it's going to go up, up, up. And that's really how it works. I mean, every time I've been involved in a few of these, like I said, over the last 15, 20 years in the business. And, they were all successful. People made money with it. And what you have now is options. You're creating an option for a shareholder. That's how I look at it.
In a way, yes.
After they get their stock, if they want to sell one or they want to keep them both,
It's up to them.
Yeah, that's it. It's something that you'll know exactly how many shares are out there. The shares to go back a step. You don't have to worry about getting a certificate in the mail. It'll be electronically deposited right into your account and cleared and ready to go as soon as you get it. It's basically better than a free cigar, as I always say.
There you go.
I mean, nothing better than free stock, right?
That's right.
Okay, but I tell you got some good things, and we're looking up. I'm impressed, Larry, truthfully,
Well, thank you, man.
about all these things here. These are big names. When you're talking about the NFL trying to break into them, the states, the Country Music Awards, and then, of course, Washington, D.C., that's the biggest celebration. That's the country's birthday. I mean, if you're going to have a party anyway, you're going to have it in Washington,
You're gonna have it in Washington,
right?
right.
On
That's right.
4th of July weekend. That should be interesting. But I want to thank you for coming in, and we'll keep everything abreast. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I think you've covered everything.
I think we covered it good. I'm optimistic. I've been talking to you a long time,
Yep.
and I tell you the truth, you've been working hard. You've been burying yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Fantastic, Mr. Larry Reed, Cleartronic. There's symbol CLRI. Pink sheet, although audited, could go to the bulletin board or the QX anytime you want. You choose to be on the pinks because of the expense. And it is a pain in the neck, too.
Right.
But we'll bring you back, and please keep us informed here of what's going on, because
I sure will.
It's exciting things. We're going to go to a break. I'm going to come back in a few minutes. I'm the Mixter. Don't go away. We'll be back at you. Your time, 26 afternoon. Attention, doctors, car lots. I don't care what type of business you're in. Let's face it, you all need traffic. And nobody drives traffic, and I'm talking about traffic that brings you dollars, than RP Summit and rpsummit.com. Yep, they're here now in South Florida. They've taken over the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Everybody knows who RP Summit is, because RP Summit drives you traffic. Let's face it, if you give me $1 on a Monday, and I give you back $4 on a Wednesday, the only thing you should be thinking about is giving me more dollars. Well, that's what RP Summit does. They are the best in the business at driving real traffic to your website or to your business. Because let's face it, it's all about getting bodies, getting people to find you. What good is having a website if nobody knows where you are? Let's face it. I mean, what are they just going to pull it out of the air? Of course not. Well, RP Summit's been driving people to businesses now for over 20 years and successful. And the fact is, once you hire them, you're never going to fire them. I suggest you look at rpsummit.com or give them a call for a free consultation at 856-424-7222. That's rpsummit.com. They will drive traffic like you've never seen before. And believe me, once you get them, you'll never get rid of them. You'll say, why didn't I do this before? It's simple. You didn't know about them, but now you do, so there's no excuse. Pick up a phone, 856-424-7222. rpsummit.com, the best in the business. Coco Pazzo. For the finest Italian food this side of Italy, go to Coco Pazzo on East Commercial Boulevard, 2724 East Commercial Boulevard. Happy hour daily, 5 till 7 o'clock, 4 till 7 during the week. Can't beat it. A bar menu second to none. Fried calamari, meatballs, eggplant rollatini, and fresh mozzarella. Chef Carlo will set you up perfectly at Coco Pazzo. 4 stars in the Sun Sentinel. Unprecedented. 4 stars. Voted the best new restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, Coco Pazzo. Stop in, say hello, stiff drinks. Best happy hour in Fort Lauderdale is at Coco Pazzo. The best mozzarella, all made fresh, cooked to order. Music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at Coco Pazzo. Come early, the band starts early. Forget about it. The best Italian food around, Coco Pazzo. Reservations 754-265-7116. $12:30 on a sweet tart Thursday here in sunny Boca Raton, Florida. Listen, I'm going to tell you, you want to see a great show. These girls really know how to put on a show. Chris Janes, Liz Sharp, the rest of the crowd. You got 4 girls. As I said, they even do the Dusty Springfield hit. That was our opening line for 10 years when I was with Fox. Only want to be with you. Okay, I guess they stole that too for what's his name. Aldous took that from me. But there'll be a Blue Jean Blues on 33rd Street tonight. They'll be playing from 5 till 8, and you'll have a great time if you go up there and you check them out. Happy hour prices. Go see the Whacked Out Twins. They're always fun, Denise and Diane. I don't know which one's which, but it doesn't really matter. But we're having a good time here on Throwback Thursday. Let me tell you something about this. When the Wolf gave me this hat, LeafyWell.com, he said to me, it'll fit your balloon head. And I said, well, geez, thanks. I really appreciate it. LeafyWell.com, if you want to feel good about yourself, you want to go ahead and get yourself something that really pecks. They have these sticks you put in. It's the honey sticks. I don't use sugar. I don't use sweet and low or anything. I just use one of those every morning, and it works. So give a good look at Leafy Well when nobody can do you a better thing than the good people at LeafyWell.com. Right now we're going to talk about money, my second favorite subject. And, a lot of sleepless nights around town. People are walking around. They can't even think anymore. They're in hock up to their eyeballs. And you have a lot of this toxic debt where businesses get into it because they're desperate. And then they get solicited by somebody, and the next thing you know, they're upside down. Their bank accounts are being drained, and they can't get away from it. Okay, well, we have a guy right here in this studio who I know forever. All right, he started out with a business, and now it's exploding. He's got multiple offices, and he's helping people dig out of this debt, especially businesses. And you know what I'm talking about. If you're in business and you know exactly what I'm doing, you have these predatory lenders that go ahead and they entice you, and the next thing you know, you never pay it off. You never pay it off, and they force you to choose between suicide and bankruptcy, which when you're in business are the same. At least to me, being financially dead is as good as being dead. Harry Denov, how are you, my friend?
Hey, excellent, Mick. Great to see you.
Yeah, I tell you, we parted there for a while. We're back in the fold again. I know you fine family. We go back. We have history together. And I remember when you started out with First Colonial, you started out in helping people with debt, and then you moved into business. But that was almost 12, 13 years ago. So you've been in this game for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw a need in the market about a couple of years ago.
Right.
And what happened was there was about 20 or 30 national lenders that were lending money to small businesses when we had the financial crisis, and it was very hard.
Well, 2008, everybody got crushed.
And it was very hard for a business to find money at the bank because the banks were turning everyone down.
Banks were on the verge of bankruptcy themselves.
They were getting bailed out themselves. Exactly.
Right, who bailed us out? I didn't get any money.
Exactly. So that created the alternative financing market, and there was about 20 or 30 core players that would lend money to these small businesses, and for the most part, it filled a void.
Filled the void for a while. You're right.
Absolutely, and it was a demand for it, and it filled the void. What happened in the last few years, though, right now there's hundreds, and I mean hundreds of these lenders.
I get 4 or 5 calls a week, and and Tom Kozlowski from RP Summit. He gets more than that a week trying to lend money.
Absolutely. So what's happened now, it's almost similar to what happened in the mortgage crisis. The lenders get greedy, okay, and then they start to what's known in the industry as stacking. So what they do is they give the business 5, 10, 15 loans to the point where they can't afford to pay it anymore. Now the payback on these loans, they're almost like loan sharks. They have to pay back anywhere from 30 to 50% on top of what they borrowed.
And they circumvent that because they're really a factoring company.
Correct. So what they do, they hide behind a factoring agreement where they're actually...
Fine print, you need an electronic microscope from space to read the print. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and you know what it is they're giving the business money. They don't look at it as a loan. They look at it as an investment, because what they're doing is they're purchasing their accounts receivable at a discount. And what happens is the payback on these quote unquote advances is anywhere from 30 to 50%. It's on a daily, sometimes a weekly basis, but just about every time on a daily basis. So think about it like this: you borrow 50 grand, you pay back 500 a day. But if you take that same loan from 5 different people, now you have 250,000. And you're paying $2,500 a day,
and you still owe them the principal at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then the payback
loan shark.
And the payback on 50,000 is 70. So now you have 70 times 5. Now you got to pay back 350 at $2,500 a day. And I mean, let's think about it. How many small businesses can afford to lay out $2,500 a day just to keep up with their just to keep up with their payments, let alone cover their overhead, pay their
they
their
collapse
bills.
you.
Absolutely.
Eventually, you're going to collapse.
Yeah. And anyone what we've learned is anyone who has more than 2 or 3 of these, they've gotten into the position where they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and they're in a position where they can't pay it back.
Medical doctors. I mean, they getting jammed up with this.
Doctors are jammed up with this. Trucking companies, especially, are jammed up with this. Construction guys, restaurants are jammed up with these.
See, it's based on what you run through your checkbook. If you run $100,000 a month through your checkbook, they have a formula where they know what they're going to lend you. And then they just drain your checkbook every week or every day, like.
And you know what? If it fills a void, if they don't abuse it. The problem is the lenders they've abused it to the point where thousands of business owners are on the verge of losing everything because they've been stacked. And look, there's some responsibility on the business owner's side because they're making the decision to take the money.
Right.
Okay. But at the same time, they're getting 10 or 15 calls a day from these lenders trying to shove the money down their throat.
They're predatory from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's toxic debt. Any way you want to look at it. Any way you want to look at it. But
if you what it is most of these companies, and they'll lend to a guy who owns a pizzeria, and they'll go up to a guy who has 200 trucks on the road, and everything in between. They never say no. And then you guys have to come and step in. And what do you do exactly when you get them?
Well, here's the thing, all right? A lot of these lenders, they look at us like we're the bad guys. Like we're interrupting their business that's making them a fortune.
Yeah, you're pulling the sheet from the guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, but the reality is we can be their ally and their friend, because what we're doing is we're helping a business owner that's going to default on the debt anyway.
Right.
If we didn't step in,
bankruptcy.
They're going to go bankrupt 30 days from now anyway. I mean, they're in a position where they haven't taken home a paycheck in months. They haven't paid their mortgages. They haven't paid their car payments.
That's the problem. That's the sleepless nights I was talking about, where you say, I'm running $100,000 a month through my account. I'm making money, but it's all going to paying interest on a loan that I burned up months and months ago. And I'm still upside down.
If these lenders were a little bit more open-minded, we can actually make a lot of money together, because if you think about it, right? If the guy stops paying them, what do? They try to collect the money, they can't, and they send it to a collection agency. The collection agency, what do?
30-40%.
They use harassing collection tactics to get the money. Okay, if they work through us, we actually coming to them on a friendly basis. Okay, we're putting them in a cash flow positive situation where we can save the business and at the same time get the lender paid. And in many cases, we get the lender whole on whatever they put out. So it's not like they're coming in and they're losing money. They're going to get back most of their principal. In some cases, end up with a profit.
Right.
We're not. See, the biggest misconception in this industry is a lot of our competitors. Okay. What we call rotten apples. They've given the industry a bad name.
Okay.
Right. They come back to these lenders. They offer them 5 or 10 cents on the dollar. They embarrass them with a bad lowball offer, and the lenders don't want to work with them. And a lot of these guys don't do the work. And a lot of guys don't do the work because they don't know how.
Right.
Okay. I've been doing this for 13 years. I know exactly how to settle this debt. I know how to work with the lenders, and more importantly, I know how to work with the lenders. I'm not,
And-
I'm
and-
not looking to insult anybody. You know, the last thing you want to do when you're selling your house, if for $1 million, is someone to walk in and say, "I love your house, I'll give you $250."
Right.
You know, they're not trying to insult anybody. We're trying to work with them and trying to develop long-term relationships because we plan
And
on
you
being
do
in
have
business-
long-term relationships with a lot of these people.
Absolutely. You know, the
Uh-huh.
company's been
Which
growing-
helps. It's got to help.
Absolutely.
They
We have
don't-
a
you
lot
know-
of fantastic relationships. And as a matter of fact, what we're doing now is we're building out a national marketing campaign, and we're going to be working with CPAs and bankruptcy attorneys. And that's a great source of leads for us because a bankruptcy attorney, okay, sometimes has to turn down this type of toxic debt if they took it out in the last 60 to 90 days because they can't include it in the bankruptcy. So for me to go to the bankruptcy attorney and work something out, or the CPA knows more than anybody that
That's
the
true.
business is in trouble.
That's true.
So-
And the CPA should be the one who calls and say, "Listen,
Absolutely.
can you restructure this for this guy?"
Right,
and-
ABC
and get him off the
Construction is,
hook?
he's paying $100,000 a month on these advances. He can't stay in business.
You
and
know,
help
you know
the
what the
guy
sad
out.
part is? Most of these companies are profitable. They're profitable. The only thing that's making them unprofitable, putting heat on them, is the exorbitant interest that they're paying on what they borrowed last year.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the part that kills you. You take a going concern, a company that could be in the black consistently, and because of this debt, they're in the red. And there's no
Absolutely.
way out. And what do they do then? Exactly what you said. They go borrow more money. Okay? And
Absolutely.
it just, until finally the house of cards collapses. Now, a lot of people that come to you, and we spoke yesterday, I went to your office, it's quite impressive. And that's only one office, you have several.
Yeah, we have several.
Right, this show goes nationwide, so if somebody called you from Waukegan, Illinois, you could do the same thing for them as you could if they were right here in Boca Raton.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so there's no restrictions. You can negotiate debt nationwide. Whoever's roped into one of these predatory situations.
Yeah, and it's not only the predatory loans. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it can be anything from traditional bank loans, lines of credit. It can be
Unsecured,
vendor debt, equipment leasing. Well, as long as it's not collateralized, because if
Right.
it's collateralized
They're
by a
done
piece of
with the
property, then there's not
what
much
is
we
it,
can do.
UC 13, and you're done with that, okay? Because that's filed the property. You know, it's funny because in the bankruptcy courts, okay, I used to work by a bankruptcy court. The only one who really shows up in the big chains was Sears, because they wanted to know if you still had that washer and dryer that they sold you 4 years ago, because they wanted back.
Right.
They were the only ones I ever saw out of all, like Penny's and Macy's. The only one that showed up is Sears. So I used to get a kick out of that. They always had that one Sears guy. I got to know him because I worked in the courthouse with him for a long time. But not to get off the subject. Now, a lot of these people go in for a secondary loan and things like that nature. And the reason they were turned down for another loan is because they still own on a certain loan. So what you do is you could stretch it out and make it so they can borrow a second loan to get them off the hook or restructure it completely.
Well, what a lot of these lenders do is as soon as they're about halfway paid in, they're offering them more money. Okay, and then when the lender files a UCC1 lien against the business, then it becomes public record. And then other lenders start offering them more money. And it becomes a chain reaction. It's almost like in the stock days 20 years ago when a guy would get called 20 or 30 times a day, someone offering him the best stock pick of the week. This is what's happening in this industry is everyone's offering him money. The guy's getting calls 20, 30 times a day with the best offer. We can get you a great rate. We can lend you more money. You can expand. And what do these guys do? They end up taking more money because it's given to them so easily.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't know if your listeners know, but the ease of getting this money. Okay, you fill out an application at 9 o'clock in the morning. The guy's calling you back at noon telling you you're approved. And the next morning, the money's already in your bank account.
It's amazing how it works. I mean, even in the days when I was a real estate developer, I still, even as powerful as my brother and I were, we still had to wait a week for a jumbo loan or $1 million or it's multi-million-dollar, to build a shopping center. But these guys approve you the next day. You got your money.
Next
it's
day
amazing.
funding.
It's amazing.
And some of the lenders are getting more creative with technology. They're funding them the same day.
I don't know how that's even possible.
The businesses, the industry's evolved. Look, we're not bashing the industry.
Right.
There's a need for lending. Okay, and businesses need money all the time.
Constantly.
And the ease of getting it is great. Okay, but the abuse that goes on in the industry is when someone takes out 5, 10 loans when he can't even afford 2. that becomes a real toxic problem for the business. And I'm in the business of saving the business. I'm not in the business of hurting lenders. That's not the business I'm in. I'm in the business of saving a business owner, hard-working family, trying to put food on his table. That I'm trying to help somebody that's in need.
You know,
Not here
the
to
worst
hurt
thing in
anybody.
the world, what you said makes complete sense. And the worst thing in the world is to take a business where it's a profitable business. Let's say you're doing 150 grand a month and you're making $50,000. To drive that guy into the ground, netting $600,000 a year, grossing $600,000 is senseless to me.
Absolutely.
You're taking something that is accepted, it's branded, the name recognition, people go there, you're making money, and because you got yourself in a jam to go ahead and drive a good, perfectly good company into the ground, why not give a company like you a shot? Because they can still listen. You got $100,000, you got $50,000 a month to play with. They take it to 50 grand. You ain't got no money. They can live on 25, so you still got 25 in a month. Am I right on that?
And that's exactly right. What we do is we do a budget analysis. We try to figure out what they can afford. Okay, we try to put them in a
You
program.
take their other bills too into account.
Absolutely.
Right.
We want to put them in. Look, we want to set them up for success. They're already in a failing situation. The last thing we want to do is get involved if we can't help them. And we don't. We turn down more business than we take on. Because if I can't help somebody, I'm not going to take it.
No.
And then that's the problem with some of the competitors. They'll take your money whether or not they can help you or not. Those are the rotten apples that I was speaking about earlier. And they give the industry a bad name. And what we do is we do a budget analysis. We give them a free evaluation. If we can help them, we'll let them know. If we can't, we'll let them know as well.
Well, you settled hundreds of these things every year, millions of dollars.
Yeah, tens of millions.
Tens of millions of dollars. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, look at the alternative. What do you got? Bankruptcy? So you lose everything. Everybody loses. People lose their jobs, this and that. Plus, the lender's not going to get his money back. That's right. Can you wipe that out in bankruptcy?
It depends. It depends.
Okay, I know certain things you can't wipe out in bankruptcy. You take a business. Is there personal guarantees? Do people?
There are personal guarantees. So if they're filing bankruptcy, they're going to end up filing a personal bankruptcy and
on
a business
top of that,
bankruptcy.
And a Chapter 11 settlement, being it's unsecured, costs you $100,000 to do a Chapter 11. Costs you $900 to go bankrupt.
Well, look, if they're trying to save their business and they want to keep the company, this is going to be their best solution. Outside of bankruptcy to reorganize and keep the business.
I'm going to give you a little statistic. I spoke to RP Summit. It's a sponsor on the show, Tom Kozlowski, and he's involved and he buys businesses throughout the United States with a group out of London. They come in, they put all the statistics into a computer, and they just go ahead and they purchase the business. He brought up a good point the other day when I was speaking to him. He said basically there are 80,000 businesses for sale. The baby boomers are getting older. They've made their money. They're hitting their 60s and 70s. They want out, and there's not enough buyers. And the days of the 7 times earnings, 15 times earnings, that's over with. I mean, something like that, you could turn around and you probably sell the business for the people once you negotiate the debt out using a different form. You could even offer that to people.
And you know what? We have clients that come to us all the time with exactly that reason. I'm trying to sell my business. The buyer wants me to clean up the debt. They come to us. We clean up the debt, and now they have an opportunity to sell the business.
Right, because if they're drawn into the abyss of bankruptcy, they're not going to get anything for the business because there is no business. You're wiped out. Am I right? There's no Chapter 11 on a debt. By the end, good lawyers will take you to Chapter 11, a reorganization. And at the end of the day, when your business is gone, they say, okay, let's convert to Chapter 7. Meanwhile, you gave them $40,000 for a Chapter 11 or 60 when you could have went for $900 and filed yourself. I mean, it's the true thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, it sounds like the market today, and listen, they're flooded. You need money? Call Cash Now.
Exactly.
You need this, and this is exactly what everybody gets, spammed emails. I get them all the time. I know, but I got to turn my children in and say, hey, there's my collateral, because you never get out from under it. But people, unless it's a good idea, if you have an acquisition or you're looking to expand, if you're doing $10,000 a day, you might do 15 if you put that little addition on. Grabbing a $50,000 or $100,000 bill is worth it because you got to be able to pay it back. That's the key.
That's the key.
And trying to pay back a loan that never seems to get paid back. it just keeps going and going and going till they run you into the ground.
And that's the thing. If you're borrowing money through one of these advances, if you have a strategy how you can double and triple your money, absolutely take the money. But if you're trying to retire debt or just cover payroll and expenses, working capital, you're digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah, I got your. If you're out there and you're listening right now and you're having sleepless nights or you're having trouble at home because whenever money's on the table, if you're living with somebody, believe me, it's not paradise. Pumpkin isn't happy when there's no paycheck. FirstColonialBizDebt.com, and that's B-I-Z with the biz. FirstColonialBizDebt.com. It's on the screen. You got a number they can call you at? I don't see the number up there.
Absolutely. Let them log into the website.
Just log into the website,
They'll fill out the form. They'll tell us a little bit about the business. We'll call them back. We're very prompt. Call them back.
Now, if you're on the radio,
free evaluation.
It's the number one with an ST. Okay, if you're on the radio, naturally you're not looking at the screen. So it's one with the ST, First ColonialBizDebt.com. And if you're in trouble, hey, listen, don't cost anything to talk to you.
No, it's a free evaluation.
Yeah.
If we can help you, we'll let you know.
He's
If
got
we
a ton of
can't-
operators there. They're all skilled. A lot of ex-bankers are right there. They can help you. They can walk you right through it. And I tell you the truth, it's the first step in getting whole, I think. I mean, you can't just and you can't even stop them from going in your bank account. They're like the Langoliers. They're like locusts. They eat through everything. I've seen it. A friend of mine, he's borrowed from Indian reservations. He's got arrows in his door. I mean, they're just torturing him every day. You got somebody with war paint. But I mean, it's just unbelievable. But the way around it, and I tell you, I learned a lot yesterday from you when you said it's a factoring deal. You're selling your receivables. Think about it. It's not usury. Don't apply.
No.
They found a loophole, and just like anybody other loophole we find in this world, everybody got on board and they exploited across the board. All right? But we're going to go to break and come back with you again. We'll wrap it up. I'm the Mixter. You're on 740, Super 740 here in South Florida and around the world on air2.tv. Be right back with Ari. We'll talk more about this. Hey, listen, if you're in Hock, give him a call. Attention, doctors, car lots. I don't care what type of business you're in. Let's face it, you all need traffic. And nobody drives traffic. And I'm talking about traffic that brings you dollars than RP Summit and rpsummit.com. Yep, they're here now in South Florida. They've taken over the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Everybody knows who RP Summit is because RP Summit drives you traffic. Let's face it, if you give me $1 on a Monday, and I give you back $4 on a Wednesday, the only thing you should be thinking about is giving me more dollars. Well, that's what RP Summit does. They are the best in the business at driving real traffic to your website or to your business. Because let's face it, it's all about getting bodies, getting people to find you. What good is having a website if nobody knows where you are? Let's face it. I mean, what are they just going to pull it out of the air? Of course not. Well, RP Summit's been driving people to businesses now for over 20 years and successful. And the fact is, once you hire them, you're never going to fire them. I suggest you look at rpsummit.com or give them a call for a free consultation at 856-424-7222. That's rpsummit.com. They will drive traffic like you've never seen before. And believe me, once you get them, you'll never get rid of them. You'll say, why didn't I do this before? It's simple. You didn't know about them, but now you do, so there's no excuse. Pick up a phone, 856-424-7222. rpsummit.com, the best in the business. Coco Pazzo, for the finest Italian food this side of Italy. Go to Coco Pazzo on East Commercial Boulevard, 2724 East Commercial Boulevard. Happy hour daily, 5 till 7 o'clock, 4 till 7 during the week. Can't beat it. A bar menu second to none. Fried calamari, meatballs, eggplant rollatini, and fresh mozzarella. Chef Carlo will set you up perfectly at Coco Pazzo. 4 stars in the Sun Sentinel. Unprecedented. 4 stars. Voted the best new restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, Coco Pazzo. Stop in, say hello, stiff drinks. Best happy hour in Fort Lauderdale is at Coco Pazzo. The best mozzarella, all made fresh. Cook to order. Music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at Coco Pazzo. Come early. The band starts early. Forget about it. The best Italian food around, Coco Pazzo. Reservations 754-265-7116. 6 minutes to 1 o'clock. It's hard to believe this day is just flying by. You know, you do other things too. You know, we were talking about debt. What about IRS, state taxes, federal taxes?
So when we first started the company, our main focus was working with the debt itself.
Right.
But since then, we've evolved as a full-service business solutions company. So we have a division now. If they have problems with the IRS, and most of them do, whether it's state or federal, payroll taxes, IRS problems.
That's another thing that drives people
sales
on the ground.
Tax problems.
Yeah.
So we have a division that specifically handles the IRS and state tax issues.
Okay, then number 1-800-951-4350. Again, 800-951-4350. If you have any questions, there are operators standing by for your call. 800-951-4350. And I'll tell you, in Florida, restaurants, they're notorious for getting jammed up with payroll taxes and state taxes. I mean, it's any retail outlet, especially here in Florida, because sometimes they fall behind years. And then you got spotters that go out and they catch them. But and I do know for a fact that they do negotiate. Because naturally they're going to come in high and they're going to estimate what you did in volume and how much money you owe them. And if you're doing $2,000 a week, they're going to say you're doing 10. I mean, you know how the state is. They're all looking for money, especially the IRS.
Well, look, every situation is unique. We'll do a free evaluation, and we'll let you know if we can help you. And if we can't, we'll try to steer you in the right direction to see if we can, put you on the right path to whatever situation you're in, regardless if we're involved in helping you or not. At the end of the day, we're local. If you're a business owner, you're struggling, give us a call. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
We can give you some advice, put you in the right direction.
You got skilled people on the telephones. I watched them yesterday.
Yeah, they're all seasoned.
Yeah.
Most of my guys have been in the finance for 20 or 30 years.
So they know the tricks in the book.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you something. You can negotiate. You see these companies on advertising. We think they do. You owe the IRS $100,000. I get it down to 10. They'll take it if you push the right buttons, because they're so hungry for money. The states and the government. You can negotiate, and if they know who you are, they say, "Well, this guy's a tough whip to work with," and I'm sure you can take them down where everybody benefits. But listen, Harry, it's been I love having you on the show. I see Eli, your brother, bopping around outside. I got Elliot behind me; he's hiding from the camera. All right, but it's great to have you on board.
Absolutely, great seeing you again. Yeah. Hopefully, we can be on again someday.
Absolutely, and this will be on YouTube if you ever just under the Mick Bazzuly Show. It'll pop right up. Probably in an hour or two, the boys in the back office will go ahead and put this on YouTube. You can catch everything, and we're going to have a great time. I'll see you, too, because we want to talk about other things during the week. I want everybody to have a great weekend. I'm going to be bouncing around. I'll be at Blue Jean Blues seeing my girls sing. Okay, both Chris James will be there, and Liz Sharp. The Sweet Tarts. You got to see this act. Harry, I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't believe it. All right, they do all the old songs from the 50s and 60s, the girl acts. They sing like Diana Ross. I mean, you really don't know who you're looking at when you're over there. I want to thank Joe behind the glass for doing a great job here on Super 740. Okay, the lovely Jody Mybound, been around here forever with me. 18 years on the air here. I mean, it's amazing how great Beasley's been to me. Bob Moranci for his tutelage, and our great engineer, Duff Lindsay. I'll catch up with you next week. Okay, I'm going to have another guest on, and we'll talk more right here on the Mick Bazzuly Show. God bless you, stay strong, and don't worry, you got it covered.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest.
Thanks for listening to the Mick Bazzuly Show, brought to you by RP Summit, putting money in businesses' pockets for 20 years. Visit rpsummit.com and tune in again next time for The Mick Bazzuly Show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.